What's up, everybody? It's Ty the Bourbon Guy, and welcome back to the 25 Days of Whiskey. Today is day 10. I can't believe it's been 10 days already. We've gone through some awesome whiskeys. We've talked about some great stories of the past, and today is no different. We are going to be discussing Few Spirits Bottled in Bond Bourbon. This particular bottle is important to me because really Few in general is important to me, because as I started making content and as I tried to figure out where I wanted to go with this whole game, Few Spirits was one of the first ones to reach out to me. And in my opinion, they may say it otherwise, but seemed to actually believe in me enough, at least what my opinion is or my content or whatever it was. But they reached out to me wanting to do something, wanting to, send a package and let me try some of their whiskeys and learn more about Few Spirits and what they're all about. And I got a chance to do several podcasts with Paul over there at Few, and it opened my eyes to a lot at that time. So, one, I've mentioned this before, but craft distilleries, I enjoy working with craft more than anything, because they're not always genuine. Not every single craft distillery out there is going to come from the same place, but you, for me, at least personally, just a much better experience overall dealing with them and working with them. And you see the work going into this, and normally it's only a few people that are really working hard, wearing multiple hats, trying to make it all come together and make it all work. So to me, for a craft distillery to take a chance on me at that time in my content enough to send me, the amount of whiskey that they did, and trust that I'm going to take that and do something with it to help their brand. Again, that's just my own words. I imagine that's what they were thinking when they sent it to me. But that meant a lot to me, and it still means a lot to me to this day. So I feel like, yes, you're going to send me this whiskey. Yes, I'm going to, get a chance to try it and see what I enjoy, what I don't, just some of the creativity that you have going on over there. And they have a lot of it, but also get to know more about the brand, share that with my audience now of what I'm learning. It was just so impactful on me at that time. And just such a great experience. If you don't know, or maybe you're not familiar, Evanston, Illinois is where they're based out of, really close to Chicago. And it's amazing to see what they're doing out there. And like I said, their creativity. So for example, they have their bourbon. Then they also have a cold cut bourbon, which they actually cut it with cold brew coffee instead of water. They have their rye whiskey. They also have their Immortal Rye, which same type of thing. They cut it with tea instead of water. And so at that point for me, that was like, and even now, even nowadays, that's still very creative. And we kind of made the joke about, we saw Few Spirits do this, and then now I'm starting to see some other people do very similar things. But either way, it was just something that their creativity, and the more I got to know Paul, the more I realized that the way he thinks and his background in music, he's bringing that creative side to the whiskey world, and now their Few Spirits is all around the world. So amazing to see what they did. But then they released their Bottled in Bond, and I've always felt like that's just kind of a stepping stone, or a milestone, I guess, if you will, for a lot of craft distilleries. And so when they released their Bottled in Bond, it kind of helps the consumer that maybe is unfamiliar with Few Spirits kind of look at that a little differently and say, okay, so this is what they're doing with that product. It's not coming from multiple places. It's not blended. It's not, this or that. It's at least 4 years. All the stipulations and requirements of being a Bottled in Bond bourbon, Few Spirits has now met that. And so even if you don't really know about Few Spirits, but you're familiar with Bottled in Bond terminology, now maybe you're more willing to take a risk on it or take a chance on it. And so I personally feel like, just as a consumer looking at that in their lineup, I felt like that was kind of a milestone for them. Out of their lineup that they had sent me, their American whiskey is by far my favorite. I love the American whiskey. Their cold cut bourbon probably is the one that, as I sample with friends or family or whoever it may be, that seems to be the one that catches the most interest. It's one that more people are curious about. At that time, the American whiskey was my favorite, and still pretty much is my favorite until the Bottled in Bond came out. Now, the Bottled in Bond was one that I really felt like it's another elevation for them. It stepped them up a little bit, and I was just excited to see them have a bottled and bond product. To this day, I'm just extremely thankful for the time that Few Spirits gave me. They came on, whether it's Instagram Live, YouTube Live, a podcast, whatever I was doing at the time, Few Spirits has always supported me, and that has always meant the world to me. So because of that, I'm giving them day 10 of the 25 days of whiskey, and it has been so much appreciated. But we could talk about Few Spirits all day. We have to at least drink the whiskey, right? So it's your notes of caramel, oak, vanilla, that whole the trifecta of bourbon flavors. Very approachable. Even the 100 proof, it should be very approachable. But on the nose, sometimes you could still have a whiskey that's 100 proof, but when you go to smell it, those ethanol notes and those alcohol vapors just smack you right in the face. But this one does not do that for me. It's a more of an approachable nose. It's a fruitier nose. So yeah, let's get into the actual taste of the whiskey. Cheers. I would say it's a very well balanced between fruity and floral type of notes, but also offers maybe a little bit of baking spice on that as well. In my opinion, very well balanced whiskey. Again, at 100 proof, I think enough people can enjoy this, whether you're a beginner or whether you've been in the game. I think 100 proof is a very solid point for anybody within whiskey. If it's something that maybe that's too hot, you can always drop an ice cube, always add water. You can add soda, you can put it in a cocktail, you can do whatever you want to do with your whiskey. That's your whiskey. So again, thank you so much to Few Spirits for taking that chance on me way back when and trusting me to take that brand to my audience and express it in a way that hopefully opened up some eyes to Few Spirits. And I would love to know if you've ever gotten a chance to try their bottled and bond or American whiskey or any of their creative whiskeys that they may have on their lineup. I appreciate them, and I appreciate you so much for tuning in to all of these videos, because I know that you're watching all of them. You're binging them. I believe that in my heart. Just the feedback that I've gotten from these and how well they've gone, I really do appreciate it. And just hearing some of the stories and the feedback from those stories and me sharing some of my whiskey stories and my journey with you is what it's all about. So thank you so much. You know what I'm going to say. You've been here this long. Subscribe, like, comment, do all the things. Share it. Send it to your friends. Send it to your grandma. She's got a YouTube channel. It's fine. Like, she can subscribe too. Everybody's good. So I appreciate you all tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 11. Cheers.